Dua's kind of a new friend.
Is Dua Lipa somebody who you would desire sexually?
Yeah, she's hot as Hi, Dua. I miss you.
No shade to Dua Lipa.
I actually really didn't like this song.
Dula Peep.
Trauma response.
C'est la vie. This video is sponsored by Sailey. When we think about pop culture feuds, we instantly think about Taylor versus Katy, Drake versus Kendrick, Britney versus Christina, and Azalea Banks versus, well, pretty much everyone. But there is one feud that never seems to make the list. Miley Cyrus versus Dua Lipa.
What?
Never heard about this feud? Well, it's because neither Miley or Dua have publicly addressed it, but there is a plethora of evidence to show that there was a wrecking ball to their friendship. How did these two go from harmonizing on Prisoner to acting like total strangers and having their fans plead for them to be friends again? It is one of pop culture's most mysterious rivalries, but I have collected all of the clues, so let's deep dive into all of the theories and try and figure out what happened. I feel like this is one of the most unemployed videos that I've ever made, but I am unemployed right now, so I guess it's fitting. Also, apologies for how scary my eyes look in this lighting. It's giving the Miley Cyrus blue eyes meme. As we all know, in 2020, Miley and Dua collaborated on a song together called Prisoner. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind a little. Miley and Dua first connected in 2019 at the camp-themed Met Gala.
What else is gonna end up in that pocket tonight?
We'll see. Hopefully, a couple friends.
Both rested their hits on Katy Perry's Buns. Burger buns, that is.
Hello, lettuce. Hello, lettuce.
Hello, lettuce! Hello, lettuce!
Of course, Miley had to out-freak everyone by trying to eat Katy.
It's getting weird.
The two also connected at the Sunny Hill Music Festival, which was actually co-founded by Dua. Miley was one of the performers, so the two mingled backstage. Miley also mentioned that they spent some time hanging out together in London, so the two created a real-life friendship. Around this time, the two also worked together on a song called LA Money that was intended to be on Miley's ultimately shelved album, She Is Miley Cyrus. Dua later confirmed that both mutually agreed to scrap the song, but would get back into the studio together to release something different.
Well, the one with Miley that we did together, we actually ended up deciding that we wanted to get into the studio and do something different.
Then at the start of 2020, a little thing called the... Sorry, let me refer to my notes. The COVID-19 pandemic happened. Countries shut their borders, everybody was raiding toilet paper in supermarkets, and people quarantined inside their houses. Around the same time, Dua Lipa released her highly anticipated disco pop album, Future Nostalgia, which I guess has now achieved its title. It was leaked online early, so the official release was pushed forward a couple weeks. Dua made this announcement on Instagram Live, which was then turned into a pretty popular meme in Twitter comment sections. Anyway, as a way to bring some light into the world, Miley started an Instagram live series called Bright Minded, where she would talk to celebrities about mental health, coping mechanisms, and how to inspire communities.
We just saw something in each other. Maybe it was their spirituality, or maybe it was just our hearts. I don't know, but
Or maybe we were just gay as
Dua made a guest appearance to talk about her album Future Nostalgia releasing during the pandemic, and the two seemed to be incredibly friendly and had good chemistry.
I'm just trying to do what any good talk show host does and go with the flow, and it's kind of like, obviously kind of how I got you to.
Before we continue, a huge thank you to Sailey, the sponsor of today's video, a service that I will be using for the next 6 months while I am traveling around the world. Sailey provides affordable eSIMs to connect to data in countries all over the world. Over 200 to be exact. You don't need to bother finding a physical SIM card at the airport, just download the Sailey app, choose a plan, and now you're saved from expensive international roaming fees. Mobile data is so important when traveling. I need to open up maps every hour, use translation apps to understand menus, as well as post stories on my Instagram to make everyone jealous, so Saily is a complete lifesaver. If you have a trip planned, make sure to get an exclusive 15% discount on Saily data plans by clicking the link in the description, or download the Saily app and use code Hugo Henderson at checkout. Okay, I've decided to move back to this part of the room. There are just so many different walls to choose from in here. In August 2020, Miley released the lead single to her upcoming album, Midnight Sky, which was actually released on my birthday. So, it was a good day. What was apparent in 2020 was that disco was the biggest trend in pop music. It was pretty much spearheaded by Dua herself. Midnight Sky leaned a bit more into the glam rock genre, but there was definitely overlap in the sound that Dua was making. So, as promised previously, after the COVID restrictions were lifted, the two reunited in the studio in September 2020 with the same people that co-wrote and produced Break My Heart on Future Nostalgia. The end result was, of course, Prisoner, a pop rock song with a gentle interpolation of Olivia Newton-John's 80s hit, Physical. Interestingly, this song was less of a collaboration between the two singers and more of a come on into the studio and sing the lyrics to a song that was already 99% finished already.
It's been written in different times, like kind of put down the pen and then revisited it, put it down, revisited it.
Originally, Prisoner was a duet between Miley and Shawn Mendes.
Shawn Mendes is only 20, so I kept tequila in here just for him. I'm just kidding, I don't give alcohol to minors.
It isn't clear why Shawn was bumped off the song in exchange for Dua Lipa. It was most likely due to the fact that they had already laid the groundwork that they were going to collaborate on a song together, and it got fans excited.
That collaboration, I've never been asked more for something by my fans. All my fans wanted me and Dua to work together for a long time, so it was a long time coming.
To their credit, they were able to achieve making a song that felt equally like a Miley Cyrus song as well as a Dua Lipa song. Miley's raw vocals and rock instrumentation fit the sonic palette of the Plastic Hearts album, while the groovy bass line and 80s interpolation made it feel like a Future Nostalgia B-side. Which we come to find out may have caused some unintended issues. But more on this later. Miley and Dua shot the music video in September. It is grunge rock inspired with a bunch of sapphic imagery between the two. Miley douses herself in cherries while Dua opts not to. Dua explained in an interview that only one could do it, so she let Miley do her thing. I don't know.
I feel like only one of us can do that. And so she's the one that can carry it the best, honestly.
The song was a streaming hit, amassing over 863 million streams on Spotify since the making of this video. However, its chart success was less impressive, only reaching number 54 on Billboard. The song was certified platinum in 2023, but just like Lady Gaga said, it's not about making music for the charts. It's the cultural impact of the song. I mean, hit the like button if you have heard this song before. I want to see something. You know what? Also, hit the subscribe button if you've heard the song. I want to see something. Just like what a main pop girl should do, Miley did several live performances on talk shows, radio shows, and concerts. There was also a clip of them during Dua Lipa's virtual concert, Studio 2054, but the clip was likely filmed when they shot the music video. It felt like Miley and Dua truly bonded over the past year, and Prisoner was the physical manifestation of their friendship. However, once promotion of the song came to a close and we rung in the new year, their relationship disappeared.
3, 2, 1. Hello, 2021.
In 2021 and 2022, there were zero interactions between them. No hangouts, no comments under each other's socials, no name dropping in interviews, nothing. During this time, Dua went on a bunch of vacations. She went to St. Lucia.
It feels so good, just as sweet as St. Lucia.
Mexico, Albania, Ibiza, Miami, as well as a bunch of other mini trips during her Future Nostalgia World Tour. This gave Dua Lipa the unserious reputation that she was the world's most vacationed person. Miley also toured the Plastic Hearts record during this period, but took a step back from touring due to a chronic condition with her vocal cords, with her not wanting to risk further damage. This leads us to 2023, when both attended the Versace Fall-Winter fashion show in Los Angeles. Both looked absolutely stunning and made sure to catch up with all of their other celebrity friends and collaborators, including Lil Nas X, Cher, and Sir Elton John. However, when both were seated in the front row in between Lil Nas X, you could cut the tension with a butter knife. Neither person acknowledged that the other one existed. It was a mutual ignoring. You might be saying right now, sure, that video does look like there is something off between them, but that does not mean that they didn't chat earlier, but that does not explain why they did not take a single photo together. Dua posted a carousel on Instagram and none of the photos featured Miley, someone the world knows as one of your collaborators. There is not a single photo or video of them interacting this night, which is just incredibly odd. The closest thing that we get was Miley's dress being featured in the background of this photo. Fans online agreed that there was definitely something wrong between them, with both fandoms pointing fingers, theorizing why the other was at fault for the fallout. There were still some people in the "it's not that deep" category, but of course, the story does not end there. At the 2024 Grammys, which I've also made a separate video on, Dua opened the show and Miley won her first Grammy. But an eagle-eyed fan noticed that Miley and Dua once again ignored each other inside of the venue. In a mosh of people, a red-haired Dua walks directly past Miley without stopping. Strangely enough, Dua bumped into Miley's mum, Tish, on the red carpet and had a quick reunion.
I love Dua. I hadn't seen her for a long time, and so we saw each other on the carpet and she ran over and we had a little moment and it was so cute.
Then, 1 month later, both were featured on the cover of British Vogue with 38 other iconic women. Naomi Campbell is next to Dua, so she is close enough to know that she has the perfect scent, but more on this later. Once again, there is no evidence that the two connected at this photo shoot. Besides ignoring each other in real life, there are also suggestions that both have shaded each other in their music. In 2023, Miley released her album Endless Summer Vacation that featured the humongous hit Flowers.
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyways.
Explaining the title, Miley said, "The album represents my strength and perseverance. There's a time in my life when I was going through a lot emotionally, but the sun was still shining. It felt like I was living in an endless summer, with all the light and the heat that comes with that." However, some also questioned whether the title was a slight dig at Dua Lipa for having what looked like an endless summer vacation the past couple years, especially when Miley was promoting Prisoner on shows all alone. I could feel myself losing brain cells saying that sentence out loud, but there is a weird development to this theory. In 2024, Dua Lipa released a music video for Illusion that includes a shot that would make Marina say that this fruit looks familiar. Dua recreated the Endless Summer Vacation album cover, down to the leg bend and blue sky background. Once again, Miley does not own this concept, but still, the association is there, right? Right? Additionally, one of the lyrics in the song Illusion is, "And it's time I take my rose-colored glasses off." And what is the name of one of the songs on Endless Summer Vacation? Rose-colored lenses, which in turn contains the lyrics where the album title derives. Could these songs be written about one another? Recently, in June 2025, while promoting her latest album, Something Beautiful, Miley decided to say something inflammatory about her collaboration with Dua Lipa. On the Every Single Album podcast, the interviewer starts a conversation about Plastic Hearts and why Dua Lipa was featured on it.
Why the f is Dua Lipa on this album?
Okay, well, that wasn't my idea. And second of all, no shade to Dua Lipa. It just isn't cohesive with the album.
Her answer actually reveals a lot. Firstly, Miley confirmed that Prisoner was not a song that she was actually passionate about, but rather it was an ultimatum for her to be able to release the rest of her music.
She would have been much better on something like, even in the Summer Vacation, like she would have been great on Wild Card.
Yeah.
She would have been great on any of River. Could you imagine?
Prisoner could have been on her records.
That's what I wrote.
Totally.
That was the idea.
But
it didn't make sense here.
Now, we can't read too much into what she said, especially since she said no shade to Dua, but there was a little bit of shade to Dua. It is highly unlikely that all of the interview questions weren't approved beforehand, which means that she knew that this question was going to be asked in some capacity, which in turn means that she had the opportunity to plan what she wanted to say. Sure, it is kind of correct for her to say that Dua would have sounded better on Endless Summer Vacation instead of Plastic Hearts, but was this answer necessary? Was it necessary to drag Prisoner? Was saying that she would have been better on Endless Summer Vacation another dig at Dua always being on holiday? I also wanted to add that neither follow each other on Instagram, albeit Miley follows no one and Dua only follows 5 accounts related to her in some way. There is an underlying assumption that we make that pop artists need to have a real-life connection if they are going to collaborate on a song, whether it's friendship, romance, or even frenemyship. Having 2 vocalists on one song feels like there is an intention there, right? Or else, why else would they be on the song in the first place? Based on interviews, it felt like Miley and Dua had a friendship before the release of Prisoner, so it is strange that the two never had any interactions after the promotion of the song came to an end. So, what happened? The first theory is that although Dua gifted Miley with her vocals for Prisoner, Miley was upset that she did nothing else to promote the song afterwards. As I mentioned earlier, Miley's performances of Prisoner were always solo. The Jimmy Kimmel performance? No Dua. The Howard Stern Show? No Dua. Holiday plays on Amazon Music? No Dua. YouTube Originals? No Dua. New Year's Rocking Eve? No Dua. It is possible that Miley was upset with Dua for not making herself available to perform the song with her live, not even once.
When you see her performing without you, Prisoner without you, do you wish you were there?
Oh my God, absolutely. We like text and go, damn it, like I wish we were together so we could perform this song.
Dua was not doing anything substantial enough during the final few months of 2020 to not perform the song with Miley. However, what was clear was that Dua was still promoting her own album, Future Nostalgia. In December 2020, she performed on The Tonight Show as well as Saturday Night Live. Potentially, Dua did not want to promote the song as it would pull attention away from her own music. Miley would understand the music industry better than most. She has been in it for a very long time, so I don't think that she was actually upset with Dua for being absent for the performances, but there is a sense that Dua was somewhat absent in Miley's real life.
I come and I go.
Both joined an interview with Ryan Seacrest virtually to talk about the song, and Miley opens by telling Dua that she misses her.
They're joining us now on our Zoom, Miley Cyrus and Dua Lipa. Good to see you both.
So good to see you.
Hi, Dua. I miss you.
This could simply be a, oh, miss you, babe, XOXO kisses, mwah, 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 or it could be a subtle dig at Dua for not making herself available to hang out. The next and most prominent theory is related to competition on the Billboard charts. As we should all know by now, Prisoner was a song written for Miley's album Plastic Hearts, hence why the name of the song is Prisoner, featuring Dua Lipa. As we come to learn, Miley did not think that the song should have been on the album since it was not cohesive with the rest of the songs. The inclusion of the song was pushed by her label to, in Miley's words,
let's salvage a sinking career.
Basically, the purpose of Prisoner was to boost streams and sales so that the album would chart higher on Billboard.
They were like, oh great, here's this like pilot album she gave us, let's spray some Dua Lipa.
And this plan worked. Plastic Hearts debuted at #1 on the rock chart and #2 on the Billboard 200 chart. It really should have been #1, but there was an issue with the release of physical copies in stores in the same week that the album was released. The album was released during Black Friday, probably the biggest shopping day of the year in America. However, unbeknownst to Miley, major retailers don't stock physical albums on Black Friday, which meant that Miley missed out on a bunch of sales which contributed to the Billboard chart. Even Miley went onto Instagram to voice her frustration. Even so, the album steadily remained in the top 40 for several months after its release, which brings us to February 11, 2021, the day Dua Lipa released a deluxe edition of Future Nostalgia. The deluxe included remixes, 4 new songs, as well as recent hit songs which Dua was featured on, including Prisoner. This was not uncommon in the industry. Señorita was included on both Camila Cabello and Shawn Mendes' albums. Bang Bang was included on both Jessie J and Ariana Grande's album. It's a strategic way to collect more points on the Billboard chart. However, literally 1 week earlier, Billboard allegedly changed their rules to deter artists from tacking on songs to their albums to rig the system. It was reported that songs which appear on multiple albums will only have their sales counted towards the album, which would chart higher without it.
Okay. Whatever that means.
This came after The Weeknd released a greatest hits compilation album which included a bunch of recent hits from his album After Hours. Billboard said that sales and streams from the After Hours songs would only be counted towards the compilation album. Relevant for our purposes, since Prisoner was now featured on both Plastic Hearts as well as the Future Nostalgia Deluxe Edition, the streams and sales of Prisoner would only be counted towards the album that would chart higher without it. Since Future Nostalgia had more hits and streams than the rest of Miley's album, Prisoner essentially became a Future Nostalgia song for the purposes of calculating chart position. Looking at the Billboard 200 the week before the release of the Future Nostalgia Deluxe Edition, Plastic Hearts was sitting at number 34. However, after its release, Plastic Hearts dropped to number 78, while Future Nostalgia soared up to number 7. The following weeks, Plastic Hearts dropped to number 89, while Future Nostalgia climbed up to number 3. Although I am not inclined to think that Miley was actually upset about chart placement, she has said numerous times that she does not feel other competition with women, I can see how she was a bit frustrated with the entire situation. Miley has confirmed that Prisoner was only added onto the album to help boost sales, so imagine giving up a part of your artistic vision to make executives happy just for the song to not end up counting towards the Billboard chart. It may be less about being mad that her album lost points on the chart and more about her sacrifice to her art being all for nothing. On top of this, Miley was promoting the song and performances on TV and radio for months alone, so to put in all of this effort just for the song to count on a Dua Lipa album could sting a little. Even so, her frustration wouldn't be with Dua but more so with her record label and Billboard. It's not Dua's fault that Billboard changed their rules 1 week earlier. It is not Dua's fault that record label executives gave permission to put Prisoner on the deluxe version of her album, and Miley knows that. So I'm not inclined to think that this is the reason why they are no longer close. There is also the theory that Miley had feelings for Dua but felt jaded after being rejected. Miley talked a lot in interviews about thinking that Dua Lipa was super hot but knew that Dua had a boyfriend at the time, Anwar Hadid.
Me and Dua Lipa, she's gonna leave her boyfriend and we're gonna get married and it's gonna be great. We're gonna have baby Lipas.
She's super hot, but see,
Right.
that isn't it for me. That's not what turns me on.
You can't,
I know,
you
but that
can't
just
go
isn't
there.
it. I
mean,
would if it was an opportunity that presented itself.
There was also a blind item posted about them on August 6, 2020 that read, "This back in the day, a plus list tweener turned a minus B plus list adult singer, referring to Miley, in a relationship, tried to hit on the foreign-born A-list female singer, referring to Dua, and Dua was having none of it." Blind items are definitely not reliable, but it is a pretty random thing to lie about anonymously on the internet, so who knows?
We did not have sex. Dua Lipa constantly reminds me, she gives me the in your dreams. She has a boyfriend.
Flash forward to this year, Miley released her latest album, Something Beautiful, which contained the song Every Girl You've Ever Loved, featuring the legendary Naomi Campbell. The song's lyrics refer to Miley pining after a woman that won't reciprocate the same feelings. The woman is only loving her in private, but won't make things official. People have theorized that Miley is referring to Dua. Why? Mainly due to these lyrics spoken by Naomi Campbell. She has the perfect scent. She speaks the perfect French. She can dance the night away, and still she'll never break a sweat. Firstly, Dua is fluent in French.
C'est la vie. Escargot. Je dois partir. Je te laisse. À bientôt. Moi.
Secondly, can Dua dance the night away? I don't know. Why don't we ask Barbie?
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Boom. And does she have the perfect scent? Well, this one is kind of subjective, but Naomi can say this because she sat right next to her at the British Vogue photo shoot. Dua is also the face of YSL's Libre perfume, which may not be known as the perfect scent, but 3.9 out of 5 stars ain't too bad. So, did their relationship come to an end because Miley felt rejected by Dua? I really don't think so. This one feels like a reach. There is also a theory that Miley and Andrew Watt, the co-writer of Prisoner as well as the majority of Plastic Hearts, had a fling, although it was never officially confirmed by either party. The evidence, you might be asking? Firstly, there are a bunch of photos of Miley and Andrew looking close, and he even sent Miley a bouquet of roses for Valentine's Day in 2021. Furthermore, Miley provided background vocals on a song called I Am Veronica by Morrissey. Important to note, Andrew Watt was the executive producer of this album. But then shortly after this, both of them unfollowed each other on Instagram. Morrissey later reported that Miley requested to have her backing vocals removed from the song. He elaborated that she had backed off for reasons unconnected to him due to a major clash with a key figure in the circle. Most people theorize that this was referencing Andrew Watt because he was the main producer on the album, as well as the connection between both artists. In 2025, Miley disclosed feelings of rage during the Plastic Hearts era due to people she had placed in her life to keep her safe, and they didn't.
I had rage. I have rage because I don't need anyone to commit to taking care of me. But don't say you will.
Obviously, this was the period after your divorce. And so...
Weirdly, I'm not talking about him. Just like actually in my industry, you know, I have a full new creative team that changed around me, who I have in the studio, who I create music with now. And I think this is why my last 2 albums are the ones where you can hear me the cleanest and the clearest.
Once again, people theorize that she was referring to Andrew Watt. She also hated the vocal production on Plastic Hearts, clearly confirming that there was a creative difference between her vision and what was released.
Plastic Hearts, I'm really unhappy with the vocal production.
Yes.
So here's the thing, reverse, about some of the things that you said originally, where you're like, okay, I can hear the Beatles, I can hear the Oasis, I can hear Rolling Stone. The only thing is, the problem with that is that's Andrew Watt's idea of rock and roll.
I know.
My idea of rock and roll is Donna Summer and Diana Ross and Madonna and Cher.
A song of yours you wish you didn't write.
Yeah. Do I say it?
Yeah.
Half of Plastic Hearts, honestly.
No.
Trauma response.
Even if there was no romance between the two, it is clear that Miley put faith into Andrew to help execute her artistic vision, and it did not end up the way she wanted it. In the same interview, she does give Andrew credit for keeping her on track for making a rock album rather than completely selling out to help recover from her disappointing chart success that she had received the past few years.
Andrew Watt, the credit that I will give him is that I think I would have made the wrong record if it wasn't for him. I think the thing that I thought that I was going to make next probably would have been a desperate grab to fix whatever the panic was happening of, like, okay, we tried to put some pop songs out and now they're not even working. And I think it actually would have been worse.
But she does phrase it as to his credit, which to me implies that he did more damage than good. Charlotte Lawrence, Andrew's longtime girlfriend, also made some references in her music that could allude to Miley having an affair with Andrew, but they are honestly too vague to confirm. It is unclear whether their relationship was romantic at all, but it doesn't really matter. Miley put trust into Andrew in some capacity, and it was broken, whether it was to do with the production of Plastic Hearts or something more personal. Importantly, Dua and Andrew remained close after the alleged fallout with Miley. In 2022, Dua shared that Andrew sent her birthday flowers. They were also in the studio together and even went out to dinner with Sir Elton John, and the cast of Heartstopper.
Let's talk about the F word.
Interestingly, Andrew was not credited on any of the songs on Dua's latest album, Radical Optimism, but that does not mean that they did not work on songs behind the scenes. So with all of this, you could say that the deterioration of Miley and Dua's relationship was a result of Dua picking sides, picking Andrew over Miley, leaving her feeling unsupported. There is also the theory that Miley and Dua were never actually friends and that it was just all for business. To explain this better, I need to add some context about where both artists were at in their careers at the time before making Prisoner. Miley had several years of underperforming on the charts. In 2017, Miley released Younger Now that only reached number 5 on the chart and received mixed reviews from critics. She also released Mother's Daughter in 2019 that only reached number 54 on the Hot 100, Slide Away only reached number 47, and then her album She Is Miley Cyrus got scrapped. On the other hand, Dua Lipa was the fastest rising star in the industry. She won the Grammy for Best New Artist in 2019, Don't Start Now received universal acclaim from critics and was credited as bringing the disco sound back to pop music in the 2020s.
Look straight into the webcam and say, Dua Lipa is the greatest pop star in history for me, please.
I would never say that.
With successful follow-up singles and a top 10 album on the charts, Dua was officially an A-list singer. So it felt like Miley needed the Dua feature more than Dua needed the Miley feature. Arguably, this collaboration was not at all about trying to cement their friendship into a song, but more so just joining forces to help boost streams. Miley has already confirmed that this song was her record label's idea, so it wasn't really her calling up Dua saying, "Hey bestie, why don't you come down to the studio and let's see if we can cook something up that's good."
But then also when I wrote it, I actually really didn't like this song because I thought it sounded too much like Dua Lipa. And I always want to do something different. It sounds too much like Dua Lipa. Let's just get her to authenticate it, and then it's genuine.
As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, Prisoner already had a finished demo of Shawn Mendes, so it's possible that Miley's label said to her, "Remember that demo you made with Shawn? Well, how about we take him off and add Dua Lipa on it? She's hot, young, fresh, cool. Then we'll be fine with you releasing the rest of your music on this album."
That's where like the medicinal Dua came in, where they were like, uh-oh, this career. Yeah, they're like, this career is sick. This is not what we had in mind to unsink this ship.
But even if this theory was remotely true, it does not make sense as to why they still ignore each other in real life. If it was just the case that they were co-workers, wouldn't you still make the effort to have small talk with them in passing? Even a smile and a wave? My final theory is what I like to call the Girl So Confusing theory. We should all know Charli XCX's Girl So Confusing by now, and especially the remix with Lorde, but for those that are living under a rock, I will quickly summarize. Charli wrote a song about the complex, fraught relationship between her and Lorde. The lyrics refer to thinking that they should have a friendship because everybody says that they share similarities, but after talking, they don't really have that much in common. She also talks about Lorde giving her mixed signals, not being sure whether she likes her, hates her, is jealous of her, and ultimately, it's just confusing sometimes. Lorde then hopped onto the remix as a response to Charli's lyrics, where she discussed not being physically and mentally her best at the time, having imposter syndrome, and built a wall up to protect herself. And I think that the same thing happened between Miley and Dua. They collaborated together because their fans and record labels said that it would be a good fit, but after spending some time together, there were some mixed signals that ultimately could have been worked out on the remix, but instead were left unresolved, so now it's just awkward between them. After assessing all of the clues and theories on this matter, I am still stumped as to why these two had a falling out. It was most likely an amalgamation of things, whether it was the charts issue, not being together for performances, rejected feelings, Andrew Watt, or just something that happened personally that they just don't want the public to know about. Or maybe they still are friends, but they're just super awkward with each other in real life. I don't know. What do you guys think? Why do you think that Miley and Dua are no longer as close as they used to be? Let me know in the comments. A quick reminder that I have a Patreon where I am posting exclusive content. Currently I have videos up on the 2002, 2003, 2007, and 2013 VMA pre-shows. They were all absolute hot misses. A quick reminder that if you have a trip planned, make sure to try out Saley Data Plans and use code Hugo Henderson at checkout today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and heck, Why not share with your friends? And I'll see you in the next one. See ya!